Good afternoon, I'm Denise Tan, and this is One News Now. Vice President Sara Duterte said those against the granting of confidential funds to her offices are enemies of the state. The VP is also head of the Department of Education. Duterte explained confidential and intelligence funds, or CIFs, are being used by her departments to promote peace and security. The VP added DepEd is part of the Anti-Terrorism Council and the NTF-LCAC, so there should be no question as to why it needs the CIF. In total, Duterte's agencies, which are relatively civilian in nature, are asking for 650 million pesos in confidential funds.
Anyone who attacks or undermines funds allocated for peace and order is naturally assumed to have insidious motivations. Such actions go against the protection and well-being of the citizenry. Kung sino man ang kumukontra sa confidential funds ay kumukontra sa kapayapaan. Kung sino ang kumukontra sa kapayapaan ay kalaban ng bayan.
Prior to this, the lower chamber has decided to realign the confidential funds from the OVP and DepEd to agencies actually dealing with national security. The Senate is also set to discuss the matter during budget deliberations. Still on the 2024 national budget, employees of the Philippine General Hospital will continue their protest actions. That's until Congress restores hospital funds slashed from the spending plan. The budget of PGH has been cut by 2.1 billion pesos, something that workers said is unjust and unacceptable. They noted that no fund was set aside for new hires, which could mean more work for existing underpaid staff. PGH's budget for maintenance and other operating expenses was also reduced. This fund covers the medical assistance for PGH patients who come from vulnerable sectors.
May kaltas na 294 million doon sa medical assistance for indigent patients. Malaking dagok po ito dahil alam naman po natin ang PGH. Sa PGH umaasa yung ating mga may hirap na kababayan para sa libre pero dekalidad na serbisyong pangkalusugan.
In our weather report, Typhoon Jenny made landfall over Pingtung County in Taiwan as it slightly weakened. Pag-asa last spotted Jenny Center some 180 kilometers northwest of Itbayat in Batanes. It has maximum sustained winds of 155 kilometers per hour and gustiness of up to 190 kilometers per hour. Jenny will continue to move westward over the Taiwan Strait, then China. It is forecast to finally leave the Philippine area of responsibility this afternoon or evening. Still, signal number 3 remains over the northern portion of Batanes, while signal number 2 is up over the rest of Batanes. Babuyan Islands, some part of mainland Cagayan, Apayao, and Ilocos Norte are under signal number 1. Time to take a quick break. One News Now will be back with more stories after that. Stay with us. You're still watching One News Now. I'm Denise Tan. The Philippine Coast Guard has successfully mounted another resupply mission to the BRP Sierra Madre in Ayungin Shoal, but not without resistance from China. Chinese Coast Guard vessels were seen intentionally cutting across the path of PCG's escort vessel, BRP Cabra. The Filipino ship had to slow down to prevent a collision. No less than 12 Chinese militia ships were also spotted making rounds in the area. But the National Security Council said the resupply mission was completed just like the last two trips, likewise marred by harassment from China's troops. We now give you a quick look at today's other top stories. Inflation quickens for the second straight month in September, clocking in at 6.1%. That's from 5.3% in August, but still lower than the 6.9% recorded in September last year. Food and non-alcoholic beverages plus transportation costs were the main drivers of prices last month. At least 6 manufacturers have withdrawn their request for price hikes. The Trade Department said these producers will hold off increases in basic necessities and prime commodities until the end of the year. Companies that pulled out their hike petitions are those involved in manufacturing bottled water, candles, condiments, bread, and toilet soap. The DTI hopes other manufacturers will follow suit. Pura Loca Vega was a bit surprised when the Manila police arrested her yesterday afternoon. The drag artist said she did not receive a subpoena for the case she was apprehended for. Bail is set at 72,000 pesos. Pura Loca Vega, or Amadeus Pahente in real life, is facing a string of charges for immoral doctrines, obscene publications, exhibitions, and indecent shows. This was over her controversial Ama Namin performance before a private audience. In sports, Gilas Pilipinas advances to the finals of the Asian Games for the first time in more than 3 decades. The Nationals stunned China with a come-from-behind win. After a tight first quarter, China zoomed to a 20-point lead just before halftime. But come the second half, Gilas naturalized player Justin Brownlee got it going for Team Pilipinas. Gilas slowly chipped away at the lead until Brownlee nailed back-to-back booming threes as the Philippines regained the lead. China bricked the last shot of the game as Gilas held on to the victory 77-76.
It's a miracle. I mean, I can't even imagine it happening that way, you know. The guys just kept battling, and so amazing. Great character to follow that up after the Iran game. We should have confidence, you know. We should be a little bit confident in our shots, and hopefully we can get out to a good start against Jordan.
One News Now will be back at 3:15 p.m. Join us again later. I'm Denise Tan. We are One News.